She leaned across the table, eyes burning, and hissed, "You can't even satisfy me, let alone provide for me." The room froze. Conversation died. Even her friends looked stunned. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't defend myself. I simply placed a crisp 40 on the table, stood up, and walked away without another word. Hours later, she came knocking, makeup smeared, voice trembling, desperate to be let in. But when the door opened, it wasn't me waiting on the other side. It was Emma, smiling with her hand on my chest. Yeah, that moment was sweet. But let me rewind because the road to that night was a wild one. My name's Mike. I'm 25. For the past few years, I've been running my own plumbing company. Not glamorous, sure, but it's steady, profitable, and honest. I started young, worked my ass off, and by 22, I'd bought my own house outright. No rent, no mortgage, no debt, just hard-earned independence. Enter Vanessa, 24 years old, manager at some upscale boutique downtown. When we first met, she was charming, stylish, and fun to be around. We clicked instantly, and before long, she was spending most nights at my place. After 4 months, she moved in. At first, things were great, but slowly, cracks started to show. See, Vanessa was surrounded daily by designer clothes, high-end brands, and coworkers obsessed with image. Every conversation with her friends seemed to revolve around status. Which boyfriend had the fancier job title? Who drove the nicest car? Who vacationed in the trendiest destinations? And suddenly she started looking at me differently. "You own a plumbing business? Couldn't you at least say you're in property services or something? It sounds better." Or, "Why don't we upgrade to one of those new downtown condos? Everyone at my work lives there." I'd tell her, "Babe, this house is paid off. Why would we trade that for rent?" She'd roll her eyes. "It's not about money, it's about lifestyle." Translation: appearances mattered more than reality. The breaking point came one Saturday night. Vanessa insisted we go to this new, must-try restaurant downtown. The kind where a single steak costs $40 and the water has its own tasting menu. I wasn't thrilled, but I agreed. What she didn't tell me until the last minute was that she'd also invited two of her coworkers and their boyfriends. We sit down, introductions start, and the show begins. "This is Kevin," Ashley beams. "He's in digital marketing." "This is Brad," Madison chimes in. "He works in corporate finance." Then it's Vanessa's turn. She doesn't even look at me. "This is Mike. He owns a maintenance company." Maintenance company. Not plumbing business. Maintenance. Like I was some janitor fixing clogged toilets in the back of a strip mall. The entire dinner was a performance. Kevin and Brad flexed about their investment portfolios and upcoming projects. Vanessa leaned in, starry-eyed, hanging on their every word. When the topic of vacations came up, she jumped at the chance to humiliate me. "Mike and I never do anything like that," she said loudly. I reminded her we had talked about Costa Rica. She dismissed it with a wave. "That's not a real vacation." The air was thick. Ashley and Madison exchanged smug little smiles, and Vanessa kept pushing. "Some people know how to plan real dates. Some people understand what women want." And then she dropped the bomb. "Mike, you can't even satisfy me, let alone provide for me." The words hit like a slap in the face. But instead of exploding, I laughed. "You really think Kevin and Brad are more successful than me?" I asked. They looked uneasy, but I pressed. "Kevin, how much do you make a year?" He shifted. "Around 70,000. "Brad?" 85. I leaned back, smiled at Vanessa, and said, "Cute. I made $160,000 last year." Dead silence. Ashley's fork clattered onto her plate. Madison's eyes widened. Vanessa turned scarlet. "Money isn't everything," she mumbled. "Oh, so it's not about money anymore? Funny, you just said I couldn't provide for you." I waved the waiter over, asked for the check, and carefully counted out exactly what I owed, $40. "For my meal," I said, placing the cash down. "Good luck covering the rest." And with that, I walked out. That night, my phone blew up. Text after text from Vanessa. "Mike, I didn't mean it. Please, can you Venmo me for my portion of dinner? Ashley had to spot me. I'm outside your house, we need to talk." I ignored all of it, locked my bedroom door, let her sit with her own words. By Sunday, she'd moved some of her stuff out, claimed she needed space, good riddance, and then fate stepped in. At the hardware store, I ran into Emma, an old friend from high school. She'd just moved back to town, working as a nurse. We started talking, catching up on years gone by. She laughed at my stories, lit up when I told her I ran my own company, and said something that stopped me cold. "Mike, that's incredible. You built something from nothing. That's real success." The exact opposite of everything Vanessa ever said. We exchanged numbers. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into nights in. Emma loved my house, respected my work, and never once made me feel like I had to apologize for my career. Within a week, we were officially seeing each other, and that's when Vanessa came crawling back. One Friday evening, a week after the infamous dinner, she showed up on my doorstep, 2 suitcases in hand, tears streaming. "Mike, thank God. I made a mistake. We can fix this. I want to move back in." I stared at her. "You packed up and left. That's not a break, that's moving out." She begged, she pleaded. "I love you. I was wrong. My friends even told me I was wrong." But before I could answer, headlights lit up the driveway. Emma pulled up, stepped out with takeout bags and a bottle of wine. She smiled at me. Hey babe, I brought dinner. Vanessa spun around, shocked. Who is that? That's Emma, I said calmly. My girlfriend. Her jaw dropped. Girlfriend? Already? You moved out. I moved on. Emma walked up, kissed me on the cheek, and asked if everything was okay. I nodded. Everything's fine. Vanessa was just leaving. For the first time, Vanessa had nothing to say. She stood there, defeated, before finally dragging her suitcases back to her car. 6 weeks later, Emma and I are solid. She's proud of me, proud of what I've built, and proud to stand beside me. Vanessa, she moved back in with her parents. Turns out without me, she couldn't even afford rent. And that's when it hit me. Vanessa didn't want a partner. She wanted a prop. Someone who looked good on paper, even if he couldn't actually provide the life she thought she deserved. But the truth? Status fades. Titles mean nothing. Real success is built on hard work, sacrifice, and loyalty. And sometimes the best revenge isn't anger, isn't shouting, isn't even proving someone wrong. It's moving forward with someone better, while they choke on the consequences of their own choices.